5th, 2024, Election Day. Happy Election Day, everyone. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner O'Grady.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get on to, I would just say that it is Election Day, so I want to remind you, if you haven't already, to get out and cast your ballot. No matter who, there are obvious candidates on the ballot, but we also have a number of really important issues that are driving the future of Central Ohio that are before us. And so this is your opportunity as the public and even as employees to stake your claim on what that future looks like. And voting is but the very first step to that chapter being written, and you're very much a part of that. I think the polls close at 7:30.
Yep.
Yep. So you can get there. There should be plenty of time to go cast your ballot. If my colleagues want to add anything about this happy Election Day going on?
Sure.
Mr. Crowell?
Thank you, President Boyce. Couldn't underscore your sentiments enough talking about the issues that are on the ballot. We have for Franklin County. Now, the other municipalities might have some other issues on the ballot, but we have three very important issues. And so really pay attention to that. Vote all the way up and down the ballot. And I was looking at social media this morning, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was talking about how people, really focus on the presidential and the federal, but how often do you get to meet a president, right? How often do you get to meet your congressional members? But when it comes to local elections and the people who absolutely make decisions on behalf of us each and every day, you can see them. You can go to council meetings. You can come to general session. You can go to court and see your judges on a more regular basis. And so pay attention to the local elections, the local races, who is, raising their hand to be able to represent you. And so I'm always telling people to do your research, do your research, do your research. But local elections matter too, and all politics is local. So if you haven't cast your ballot, I have not cast mine. I do it the day of my children are coming up from school, and we will be casting our vote today together. So excited about that.
Outstanding. Commissioner O'Grady?
So I have lots that I could say about a lot of the things that are on the ballot today, but I won't. I would like to say, though, that two things, if I could. One is the voter turnout this year is pretty amazing. I was up at the early vote center a few times to see the number of people that, it always blows me away to see the number of people that are that come to the early vote center. But this year it was even higher. The number of people who voted absentee, the number of people who voted at the early vote center. Voter turnout's going to be tremendous this year. It always happens that way in a presidential year. Commissioner Crowley is absolutely correct. The problem is that next year, when we have a municipal election, and Commissioner Brown used to hate it when we call them off-year elections, but when we have a municipal election next year where we only have a handful of judicial races and the city attorney's race, and so in the spring, in our primary in the spring, voter turnout will not only be in the single digits, it'll be low into the single digits, and we'll have in the fall, in November, voter turnout maybe won't reach 20%. And as Commissioner Crowley indicated, those elected officials impact your life more directly than the President of the United States does, that's for certain. Those elected officials, municipal judges, the city attorney, the races that are on the ballot next year have a much more direct impact on your life than a congressional race does. And people come out and get all excited about, the United States Senate race or the president's race or the congressional races, and they forget about municipal races in what are, I guess, termed off-year elections. And they have much more of an impact on your everyday life, especially if you live in a suburb. If you live in Grove City or Worthington or Whitehall or someplace like that, those elected officials impact your life directly every single day. And so it really is disappointing to me to see that type of voter turnout in those elections. The other thing I would also say is, having been up to the early vote center, the Board of Elections, a few times, I want to give a big shout out to those folks up there. Antone White and his team did a phenomenal job. They generally do a phenomenal job. This is different from back when I used to vote against their budget every single month. There's been the days before then, and Board of Elections members before the ones that are currently there now. It's a long story, and I can remind people of it on another day. But those were election cycles in the past, but they've just done a phenomenal job. The work that our administrative team, led by Chris Long, have done to provide the resources up there that are necessary. I think when the election's over, we need to look at the parking and the traffic situation up there. But short of that, it was pretty amazing. I was really really impressed with everybody, and so, great work.
My colleagues have said it so well. I would say a couple extra points that you guys made me think of while you were talking. One, I've been advocating with Chris Long for a long time that, it is well over time that we build a Board of Elections that suits the size of this community, the way we are constructed in terms of vehicles, and and I love the location we are. It's definitely a very they've managed it to a T the best they can. They're amazing how they've done it, and it has evolved, because it wasn't always like that. And so I agree with you, to Antone White. I mean, they've done a fabulous job of making it work. My son, who lives in D.C. but is registered here, he works in D.C. but registered here, came home to vote, and as he always does here, and he said he was in line for 3 hours, but he said, "Dad, it was the most amazing experience." He said that ultimately. He said people were ordering pizza in line, and there was music playing, and there were all kinds of things going on that that he felt were made the time pass very quickly, and so he said that it's just an experience that he enjoys having, even though it was 3 hours. Actually, said 3.5 hours, and he said it felt like 20 minutes, and so that's the first part. The second part is that, again, I think. Chris is looking at me because I keep saying this to her, that we just need to really be thinking about, the Ohio Revised Code, the way we are constructed in Ohio law, the county will always be responsible to carry out the elections. That is part of what we do as Franklin County. It is what we are ordained to do by law since our very beginning. And so, and there are various other things that we do that we are not are ordained to do. They are part of what we seek to do because it affects the public in a positive way. But the fact of the matter is, this is something that we will always carry out. It happens every single year. There are special elections, primary elections, and it is a big deal, and we should be thinking about building to suit, something that serves a purpose exclusively for that. And then finally, I'd just say to the folks who are, Commissioner O'Grady talked about him voting against the Board of Elections budget. He didn't want to get into why, but his reasons were very legit, and it was because when the partisan perspective gets involved in our politics, and to Commissioner O'Grady's credit, he has no tolerance for that, and so. He took the position of voting no, but the point was that there was a question of whether or not how we could promote the election and share with people the information of election time, where to go, what to do, all those things. And I just want to say to the public, folks, when they limit and prohibit your ability to access information, there should be a red flag to you. I don't care what party they belong to, or what color they are, what gender they are. If anyone puts the smallest mustard seed size question to your ability to vote, have access to information, you should second guess their role in government. And that is something I believe, and that's what you were doing, essentially, saying that you just weren't going to tolerate. And we decided at the time, Marilyn Brown was here at the time, we decided that we needed to carry out the election, but John was going to do it to speak for all of us, that we believed in what he was doing. And we supported, but we wanted to make sure the election carried out. And John understood that too. But that's the point of, this is bigger than any one of us. You know, this is, and I just want to point that out because it was really a deep thing. I know how passionate you are. You born and raised around elections. And to vote no on a Board of Elections budget had to be a traumatic, tough decision for you. I know it was, because we talked about it. So, and I'm absolutely confident my colleague, Commissioner Crawley, is as passionate, if not more, about the same perspective. So I'm saying all that to say, use today as that day to voice your vote. We're in the positions of county commissioners. We make a lot of decisions, but you decide if we're here. And so you have the ultimate power. The public has the ultimate power. And whether the person you voted for wins or loses, the fact that you exercise your vote means that you were heard, and that whoever gets elected, I mean, that's just the process. The masses win, but in a democracy. So that being said, I hope that you will take time to exercise your right and make the most of it, especially on those issues. Your voice needs to be heard there. So.
Can we say thank you to the voters who stood in line 3.5 hours, 4 hours? I mean, it would be easy to get out of line. It would be easy to go home.
Really easy.
It would be easy to go home and say, I'm gonna do it another day, and maybe not get around to it. So thank you for taking your time to exercise your civil liberty to vote, right? We know that the right to vote has been hard fought. And so.
One day it was raining.
Oh my gosh.
People stayed, in the rain.
And so, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I know I speak for my colleagues when we just say thank you. And if you believe that we are doing a good job, you get to, say we could stay a little bit longer or send us home, right? But also you make decisions for who we also work with, right? Who we have to work with, whether it's local, whether it's state, whether there's some state races on the ballot too, as well as federal. And we can't do this, we say all the time, we can't do this without you all. And so we see each and every one of you who cast a vote as partners in the work that we do and the work that we envision doing for this county. So thank you. And thank you for going out today.
Commissioners, if I could, I'll be very brief. And Commissioner Boyce, I do always listen to you very closely, as I do with Commissioner O'Grady and Commissioner Crowley.
That's completely not true.
And while we
I can vouch.
continue the conversation about where best to have the Board of Elections, I did just want to lift up the three of you because your investment in that space, and we talked a little bit about that before, but the addition, when you're looking at the Board of Elections, the addition of the Payless and the old Payless and GameStop space at your direction to acquire that and to have it ready for early vote allowed 1,000 voters an hour to be processed in the early vote center, which is extraordinary work by the Board of Elections. All of that, absolutely. And all of that was, arrangement was run by the Democratic and Republican leads, Antone White and David Payne, at their direction. The other home buys space, again, at your direction, is under the control of the county, and that allowed us to have all of that parking available to us that was used for queuing. We still have work to be done, obviously, and again, in the broader conversation, to your point, Commissioner Boyce, but the three of you are never stopping, looking and pushing us as staff to make sure that the experience of the voter is as accessible as it possibly can be. And I really want to thank the leadership of the three of you to make it happen.
And Chris, thanks for raising that. And this isn't the forum for us to dig into it, but I know I was also told stories of people. It took 40 minutes to park, and if you got there right at the end if you weren't in line by a certain time, but you were trying to park, they wouldn't let you in line. So it's just, again, the dynamics of perfecting the process. And I know that's a tough word, perfection, but our residents deserve that effort to perfect it. And so I just throw that out there because I truly believe that that a state-of-the-art Board of Elections, we have the property, size, and we lease that currently, and
We own part of it,
We
at
own
least
part
part of
of
it.
it,
I think
but
we're
we-
getting really close
Yeah.
to a state-of-the-art space right there,
Uh,
Commissioner.
But to have that, probably not just that, all right, we're getting way to that lot, but the other.
Yes.
Adjacent. Yes,
Yes.
adjacent is probably, we're probably a couple years away from a full, all-out, top-notch technology, format, structure. We ought to be thinking about it now, the design of what that looks like once we acquire all of that. And then even the traffic pattern on Morse Road, and having that managed a little differently too.
So I spent the week, I spent the weekend, texting with my colleagues across the state. They were, nobody's voting 1,000 people an hour in any county across the state. Nobody has 150 machines going all at the same time. But as I also texted with Deputy County Administrator Long, we need to, post-election, we need to look at, redesigning that parking and redesigning the traffic pattern. Also working with the City of Columbus Department of Public Service to see if we can't figure out the traffic pattern getting into and out of that parking lot, because when I went up there, a couple times when I went up there, it was really difficult just to get into the parking lot, let alone to park once you got there, because there's only one turn lane off of Morse Road, and then when I went in off of Carl Road, it was just as difficult, even though I was making a right-hand turn. It's just difficult, and so we can do that going forward, and we have time now, and so,
Absolutely, we want it to be as easy and safe as possible, wherever it is, yes. I hear all three of you loud and clear. Thank you.
All right. Is there approval of the minutes for the October 24th, 2024 briefing session?
move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved.
Auditor.
Resolution number 83924, resolution approving 5 contract modifications for mediation services in the amount of $725,000.
Yeah, how you doing? This is Steve Gerald, Deputy Chief of Staff here at the Auditor's Office. We're just asking approval for the resolution approving the 5 contract modifications for mediation services, not to modify the 5 mediators we currently have or the time period. It's just to increase the not to exceed amount of $725,000 because of the over 11,000 property value complaints that were filed this year, and we've got a lot of those done. But we're just asking for the approval of this contract modifications.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 83924.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution 83924 has been adopted.
Engineer.
Resolution number 84024, resolution authorizing the Franklin County Engineer to enter into a contract modification with Capstone and Associates Incorporated, doing business as Stone Environmental Engineering and Science Incorporated, for additional engineering services to update the Franklin County Stormwater Design Manual in the amount of $15,277 for a revised contract amount of $164,186.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brad Foster, Franklin County Engineer. Commissioners, this resolution seeks approval of a contract modification with Capstone and Associates, doing business as Stone Environmental Engineering and Sciences, for additional engineering services to update the Franklin County Storm Design Manual. Modifications to this original agreement for the additional services is requested in an amount not to exceed $15,277. Pending any questions, I ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 84024.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting. Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 84024 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Treasurer.
Resolution number 84124, resolution authorizing a contract with Mapsys, Inc. to provide requested support and maintenance to the Franklin County Treasurer application in the amount of $120,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Daniel Scheidegger. I'm the desktop support engineer for the Franklin County Treasurer's Office. The Franklin County Treasurer's Office is entering a contract with Mapsys Inc. to provide requested support and maintenance for the Franklin County Treasurer application, also known as FAX. The amount not to exceed $120,000 for the duration of 6 months. Franklin County Treasurer's Office manages the main operations of the agency within FAX and ensures advancing technology is properly planned for, managed, and utilized to the benefit of the county by continuing to enhance the main application FAX. Again, the total cost of the contract is not to exceed $120,000. Barring any questions, I respectfully ask for your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 84124.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 84124 has been adopted.
FCCS, Franklin County Children's Services.
Resolution number 84224, resolution authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for expenditures for children in the complex medical health program and in prevention services.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Dan Shook. I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Franklin County Children's Services. I'd like to thank you for your consideration of our request to increase appropriation equal to $2.5 million within the Special Levy Fund for expenditures related to the Ohio Department of Health, Bureau of Complex Medical Health, and in prevention services as well. The Ohio Department of Health, Bureau of Complex Medical Health fees are a pass-through to FCCS for the children with medical handicaps served in Franklin County. These pass-through fees are currently on pace to exceed $3 million this year, which is double our 2024 budget, due to multiple high-cost cases for services and prescription medication. There are 2 cases alone where the pharmacy charges exceeded $430,000 each for the first 9 months. Further, FCCS provides prevention services and supports the families and children to help in times of crisis and to help stabilize families. FCCS invests in a full range of community-based prevention services, programs available to all families in Franklin County. FCCS also provides financial supports to families for housing, daycare, food, furniture, and other hard goods. The needs and services for families in 2024 have simply outpaced our budgeted projections. It's for the reasons listed above that FCCS requests the $2.5 million supplemental appropriation be approved. Again, I'd like to thank you for your consideration in this matter. I'm happy to answer any questions at this time.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 84224.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution number 84224 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Best of luck today.
Thank you so much.
Disabilities.
Resolution number 84324, resolution authorizing a non-general fund supplemental appropriation for expenditures related to the Medicaid waiver match for home and community-based services.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Dot Yeager, Superintendent for the Board of Developmental Disabilities, and our request today is due to higher than budgeted expenditures for the local share of the federal Medicaid expenditures for home and community-based services. This increase resulted from a number of factors. Number of residents who were served has increased beyond what we had anticipated. The complexity of the services, our local county board share of increase in direct support professional pay raises that were supported at the Ohio, by the state of Ohio on behalf of the entire state. So as a result of those things, we are requesting a supplemental appropriation in the amount of $14,638,185. There's a substantial amount of that, which we have received in additional reimbursements from the state of Ohio offsetting that, as well as during the pandemic, there was a reduced federal Medicaid assistance percentage. So we were able to have reduced cost for several years prior. So the funds are available in our Board of DD fund to allow for this supplemental appropriation.
Pending any questions, we would ask for your approval.
Yeah, please.
I'm sorry, what was the amount again? 14 million?
$14,638,185.
DCA Bivens has a
Okay.
question too.
And DCA Bivens?
Thank you, Commissioners. Joy Bivens, Deputy County Administrator of Health and Human Services. Good morning, Director. How are you? So are there more waivers pre-pandemic than there were?
We are serving more people now than prior to the pandemic.
So there are more waivers?
We have increased by about 400. We had about 5,000 waiver enrollees that were funded by Franklin County. There's an additional number who are funded by the state. But there were about 5,000 going into the pandemic, and we're at about 5,400 right now, and we have about 100 who are in process right now of being enrolled. So we serve quite a few people.
All right, if there are no further comments or questions, I will move approval of Resolution 843-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 843-24 has been adopted. Thank you all.
Thank you. Child Support Enforcement?
Resolution number 844-24, resolution authorizing a consultant contract with Herzog and Associates LLC for information technology services in the amount of $18,700.
Good morning, Commissioners, County Administration, Susan Brown, representing the Child Support Program. This resolution requests your consideration in approving a contract with Herzog and Associates beginning November 1st, 24 through October 31st, 25, again in an amount not to exceed $18,700. This contract reimburses Herzog for professional IT consulting services to further integrate current technology and optimize the use of county-created proprietary software. The awarding of this contract ensures that the agency's existing document and business process databases are maintained and function in conjunction with our new systems. Herzog is the original designer of most of the agency's databases and has been providing services to the Franklin County CSEA since approximately 2004. He's contributed to automating manual processes, assisting in data transition to our current on-base business process management system, and sunsetting all of our access databases as the state of Ohio transitions to a refactored child support tracking system. This IT consultant request was included and approved under the 2024 Franklin County Automatic Data Processing Board Information Technology Procurement Resolution 24018 as part of the CSEA's baseline procurements and annual renewals. And this resolution also supports the Rise Together Blueprint Goal number 12 and 13. And pending any questions, I request the resolution be approved.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 844-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 844-24 has been adopted.
All right, thank you. Have a great
Thank
day.
Thank
you too.
you.
DE&I?
Resolution number 845-24, resolution authorizing a grant agreement with Kingdom Image Arts for the 2024 Kingdom Image Award Show in the amount of $386,575.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. D'Amica Withers, Chief Economic Equity and Inclusion Officer in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Kingdom Image Arts is a nonprofit 501c3 organization established in 2010 whose mission is to empower all generations through inspirational arts, performances, education, and influential programming, contributing to personal wellness, economic impact, and social change. The Kingdom Image Awards stand as a significant celebration of community engagement and the diversity of inspiring performing arts. Each year, this event draws thousands of inner-city residents, enhancing awareness and recognition of the vital roles played by Black, Indigenous, and people of color in performing arts. This celebration highlights their invaluable contributions to the nation's creative ecosystem, enriching our cultural landscape. Kingdom Image Arts is dedicated to supporting and uplifting minority creators in the performing arts, ensuring that their voices and talents are celebrated and recognized. They are committed to creating an inclusive environment that fosters creativity and community engagement. This agreement is to serve 18,000 attendees and over 50 national entertainment artists during the Kingdom Image Award weekend, boosting tourism and generating economic revenue for small and minority-owned businesses. This resolution aligns with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion's goals to advance racial equity by addressing and eliminating disparities while enhancing the overall quality of life for people of color. Ramani Hunter, Executive Director of Kingdom Image Arts, is here with comments and to answer your questions. After questions and comments, I respectfully request your approval on this resolution.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioner Crawley, Boyce, and O'Grady, County Administrator Wilson in his absence, and Deputy County Administrators, and happy birthday, DCA Bivens, early birthday. The Kingdom Image Awards this weekend, we celebrate 11 years, and so just traditional with every year we grow. This grant agreement will be a year-long worth of programming, contributing to quarterly concerts, engagements, and educational master classes. With the current climate of where we're at, social unrest, political anticipation, and anxiety, we're recognizing that our mental anguish is rising. And so how Kia combats that is that we use the arts to provide hope and inspiration and personal endurance. Out of this year's 98 nominees, 60 will attend this year. That is a record for us, and over 50% are outside of Franklin County. So we're increasing tourism dollars. They're at a high time this year with hotels downtown and at the airport. And Kia commits to look to ways to increase ways to attract and increase attendees to visit Franklin County during Kia weekend. Kia Awards Weekend elevates the minority community's sensibility of how they experience high-quality art production. It also is a feeder program to our other wraparound services and programs, and specifically mental health services referrals. The last thing that I will say is we're proud to host three of our award weekend events in our new state-of-the-art art programming center right in the heart of the community on Mock Road, and it's a way for us to connect the community to the arts programming. I thank you so much and look forward to hearing your feedback.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 845-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution number 845-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
EDP.
Resolution number 835-24, resolution authorizing an amendment to the funding agreement with the Affordable Housing Trust to create more affordable home ownership and rental housing and to strengthen neighborhoods within Franklin County in the amount of $359,716.35.
Good morning, Commissioners. Zach Tularic with the Office of Management and Budget. The Housing Trust receives on a quarterly basis 1/4 of the permissive real estate conveyance fees collected during the previous quarter. Actual collections of the permissive real estate conveyance fees are higher than anticipated. Therefore, a contract amendment is required to increase the amount from $3,700,000 to $4,059,716.65. Pending any questions, would ask for your approval of this resolution.
I'll move approval of, if there aren't any questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 835-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Abstain.
Resolution number 835-24 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 846-24, resolution to conditionally approve the 2023 U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, and ratify and accept the submission of the 2023 Community Development Block Grant applications.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Walter Dillard, Assistant Director, Economic Development and Planning. Franklin County, Ohio, as an entitlement urban county, is required by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to complete and submit a consolidated annual performance and evaluation report, known as a CAPER, in conjunction with its receipt of Federal Community Development Block Grants, CDBG, Home Investment Partnership Programs, and Emergency Solution Grant, ESG, pursuant to 24 CFR 91.520. The CAPER is intended to highlight the performance and disbursement of the previously stated grants. This resolution will adopt the county's 2023 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, conditioned upon final approval by HUD. Once the CAPER is approved by HUD, EDP will submit an entry to the clerk's office for journalization. Finally, due to the changes made to the application for proposed CDBG economic development projects, this resolution will also ratify and accept the engineer's applications for the CDBG projects as previously presented to the Board of Commissioners. I have Brianna with the prosecutor's office with me to field any questions. Pending any questions, we will be requesting the approval of this resolution.
If there are no questions, I will move approval of Resolution 84624.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley,
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 84624 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Resolution number 84724, resolution approving the recommendations of the 2024 Franklin County Tax Incentive Review Councils.
Good morning, Commissioners, Administration. Emmanuel Torres, Assistant Director of Economic Development and Planning. And this is our last resolution. Seeks your approval for the recommendations made on August 27th of this 2024 year by the Tax Incentive Review Councils, also known as Turks, in Franklin County for activity occurring January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. The Franklin County Department of Economic Development and Planning, together with the Franklin County Auditor's Office, conducted the annual Turk meetings to review the annual compliance of projects with active economic development incentive agreements benefiting from enterprise zone, community reinvestment area, and tax increment finance programs. In accordance with sections 5709.85 of the Ohio Revised Code, the Turks shall forward the recommendations to the County Board of Commissioners as the legislative authority that created the incentive program and executed the agreements under review. Commissioners, the recommendations of the Turks may be to, 1, continue, amend, or dissolve the agreement. However, you're not bound to follow the Turk recommendations. In summary, all projects were found to be in compliance. The Turks recommended continuance with no action necessary. Overall, the incentives portfolio is healthy and performing at 258% of the goal for a total of 1,777 full-time equivalent jobs created and retained, 213% of goal for a total of $60.8 million in payroll, and 134% of goal for a total of $183.9 million in real property investment. Pending any questions, I respectfully request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 84724.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady,
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 84724 has been adopted.
Justice Policy Programs.
Resolution number 84824, resolution authorizing a contract modification with Alicia Payne for community health care worker and case management services for residents served via Safer Station in the amount of $6,000.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Melissa Pearson, Chief Operating Officer with the Franklin County Office of Justice Policy and Programs. Ms. Alicia Payne provides support and case management for our Safer Stations program on the west side. This contract modification requests an increase of $6,000 in her current contract of $25,000 for a revised total of $31,000. We are also requesting an extension of her contract through December 31st, 2024. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 84824.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting, Commissioner O'Grady.
Yes.
Commissioner Crawley.
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce.
Yes.
Resolution 84824 has been adopted. Resolution number 84924, resolution authorizing a contract modification with Talitra Campbell for peer support and case management services for residents served through the Rapid Resource Center and Bridge Program in the amount of $7,500.
Commissioners, similar to our last resolution, we are seeking a contract modification for Ms. Talitra Campbell to support an increase of $7,500 to her current contract of $34,600 for a revised total of $42,060. Ms. Campbell is a peer support specialist and oversees our Rapid Resource Center Bridge Respite Program, which supports up to 5 nights of respite housing for individuals booked into the Franklin County Correctional Center indicating homelessness. Pending any questions, we respectfully request your approval.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 849-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution 849-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Purchasing.
Resolution number 850-24, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $10,712,313.60.
Good morning, Commissioners. Megan Perry Balanier, Director of Purchasing, and I'm presenting alongside Andrina Austin, Economic Equity Administrator for the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. This resolution requests your approval of 94 purchase orders for which the County Auditor has pre-certified available funding, and I'll turn it over to Andrina for the supplier diversity data.
Thank you, Megan. Good morning, everyone, County Administration
Morning.
and our Commissioners. 11 of the purchase orders being presented are being awarded to small and emerging businesses totaling $758,140.95. These awards are distributed as follows: 2% to small emerging businesses, 9 to women-owned businesses, and 1 to minority-owned businesses. Once approved, 6 agencies will provide equitable and inclusive opportunities to small businesses this week, and these agencies are the Court of Common Pleas, the Data Center, Domestic Relations and Juvenile Court, Job and Family Services, Public Facilities Management, and the Sheriff's Department. Year-to-date, Franklin County Board of Commissioner agencies have awarded 496 purchase orders totaling $21,836,015.30, and pending any of your questions or comments, we respectfully request your approvals.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 850-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution 850-24 has been adopted.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Resolution number 837-24, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $435,992.43.
Commissioners, this resolution requests your approval of 4 purchase orders. Funding has been pre-certified, and pending any questions, I respect your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 837-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Abstain.
Resolution number 837-24 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention. Resolution number 838-24, resolution approving 1 purchase order for the Franklin County General Service Purchasing in the amount of $3,000.
Commissioners, the County Auditor has pre-certified available funding for this purchase order, and pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
Look at your phone. If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 838-24.
Second.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
I'm sorry.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Abstain.
Resolution 838-24 has been adopted with Commissioner Crowley's noted abstention. Resolution 851-24, resolution approving purchases for various Franklin County agencies in the amount of $1,095.
Commissioners, this last resolution requests your approval of 3 purchase orders, and the County Auditor has pre-certified available funding. Pending any questions, I request your approval of this resolution.
If there are no comments or questions, I'll move approval of Resolution 851-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Abstain.
Resolution 851-24 has been adopted with Commissioner Boyce's noted abstention.
Board of Commissioners.
Resolution 852-24, resolution reappointing Lawrence Hilsheimer to the National Veterans Memorial Museums Foundation Board.
Good morning, Commissioners and County Administration. Michael Ruhrman, Assistant Director of Community Appointments. This resolution seeks to reappoint Lawrence A. Hilsheimer, a member in good standing, to the National Veterans Memorial and Museums Foundation Board, with a term expiring November 19th, 2025. Pending any questions, we respectfully ask for your approval.
If There are no comments or questions. I'll move approval of Resolution 852-24.
Second.
Moved and seconded, voting Commissioner O'Grady?
Yes.
Commissioner Crowley?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyce?
Yes.
Resolution 852-24 has been adopted.
Thank you.
Concludes our regular agenda. Are there any journalizations?
Yes, we have two. The Central Ohio Community Improvement Corporation has amended its bylaws to allow the Board of Commissioners to have 2 members instead of 3 members. Each year, the Board of Commissioners shall provide notice whether they are opting to have 3 or 2 members. For the remainder of 2024 and for the calendar year 2025, the Board of Commissioners shall have 2 members, Commissioner Crowley and Commissioner O'Grady. A copy of this journalization will be filed with the meeting minutes from today's session and will be forwarded to all interested parties for their information and planning. And then second, Catherine Page, Policy Aide to Commissioner Kevin L. Boyce, has been named as the Commissioner's designee and replacement on the Franklin County Planning Commission. Catherine is replacing Chelsea Barnett, who will now serve as the Commissioner's alternate on the commission. A copy of this journalization will be filed with the meeting minutes from today's session and will be forwarded to all interested parties for their information and planning.
All right.
Are there any questions from members of the media? Okay, seeing that there are none, thank you. That concludes our meeting. Happy Election Day, everybody.